Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Pac-12 Chat Show Live here on the Voice of College Football channel. We've got a busy night tonight. We've got to preview a couple of bowl games, and we are all watching right now the excitement of Oregon and North Carolina live from a dangerous baseball field in San Diego. So we're excited to chat tonight. So it's going to be a little bit quicker show than usual, but we're glad to have you guys. Just a couple of things. We're going to have some call-ins, and we're also going to have our chat as always. Remember, we ask you guys to follow a couple of rules for the chat here. Be interesting, constructive, adding value. Don't be a jerk, and keep it related to the pack. What that means is no personal attacks on guests, callers, or other chatters. No incessant, worthless, or negative trolling. Absolutely no derogatory or discriminatory nonsense. And do not harass, whine, or challenge our moderator team. We will bounce you in a heartbeat because we don't care. Anyway, we want to focus on good people. And if you're not going to be one of those people, then this is not the show for you. So without further ado, guys, let's get into bowl season. Just real quick, guys, what are your thoughts on the bowls so far for the Pac-12? And by the way, the Big 12 might not win a bowl game. We'll see.
Yeah, so far it's been, go ahead, Rick.
Oh, go ahead, Tim.
I just think so far it's been what I think we all expected, right? I think we all predicted that Fresno State would beat Washington State, and we did believe. We've been Beaver believers. None as strong as Chris down there, but we knew they'd take care and avenge that loss to the Gators. I'm a bit surprised with what's going on right now with this Oregon game. I'm a bit surprised. I know there's coordinators missing, right? They're missing on both sides. They're missing offensive coordinators, and there's guys missing on defense on both teams. But so far, it just looks like Oregon is finding a way to make a really sketchy defense look good so far in this game.
Yeah, I think you hit it, Tim. That's pretty much what we expected. I don't think expected Oregon to be performing the way they are. Again, it's beginning of the fourth quarter. They're down by a touchdown to North Carolina. This game is on the West Coast. It's in San Diego. It's a big recruiting area for Oregon. They've got Jaleel Florence last year, a defensive back out of San Diego. This is not looking too good. North Carolina is missing a lot of their. Well, I think he's got 0 touchdowns and a pick, but this is a national stage for Oregon and the Pac-12. Again, a lot of time left, but you wouldn't expect Oregon to be down by a touchdown to a North Carolina team that is not known for its defense and is missing like 5 of their starters on all levels of the defense. So maybe Oregon can, pull it out. Who knows? What do you think, Chris?
Wait, hold on. I have a question for you, LBC. I'm really confused. It sounds like you're implying that when the conference needs Oregon to perform, they drop the deuce.
Well, yes. I mean, we saw that at the beginning of the year.
I'm sorry. That's Oregon. Never mind. It's Oregon. I don't know what I was thinking. Of course they are.
Well, I just can't believe they have 14 points through 3 quarters.
Just kidding, Docs. Just kidding. We love you.
That's the part that's tripping me out the most. 14 points through 3 quarters. It's just almost ridiculous play. It blows your mind.
Yeah, they kind of need to stop here, but it kind of reminds me of Washington State, to be honest, in a game where I think that they look like the better team on the field and they do certain things to not be able to get out of their own way. I mean, the fact that they had at the end of the first half, they were averaging 10 yards a carry, and Bo Nix was 10 of 13 or something. They had they look like the better team, except they have a pick that gives North Carolina the ball on the 50, and they have a big kickoff return, which, I mean, they're plays that matter. That gives North Carolina the ball on the 50. But North Carolina actually, May was 10 of 20. He had 3 touchdowns, but he wasn't Saki was slinging the ball all over. the Oregon in the first half, even though they were down by a touchdown, like in many ways looked like the better team. But they need to figure out a way to actually get in the end zone here and make a stop on this drive, or else it's going to be, it's going to be too little, too late.
Yeah, I didn't think in this game you would have guys ripping up their tickets in Vegas going to the fourth quarter. But is it a 14-point?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah,
13 and a half. Yeah.
I don't know if they got the hooker. Yeah. So if you look at it, they score here. You might as well forget about covering and then hope you can scrap back into the game, scrape back into the game and win it.
Well, guys, shall we dive into the other games coming up this week?
Yeah.
All right. First up, what do you guys think about the Alamo Bowl? The Dogs against Bevo. We've got number 12 Washington versus number 20 Texas.
I want to save most of my time on this one for Tim because he's the. I kind of think of Tim as the Penix, not booster, but you go into bat for Penix a little bit more than everybody else. So. Like Oregon that we were just talking about, it's another quarterback that's coming back next year, which I think surprised some people. It's obviously huge for Washington. It's a great year for Washington, and obviously way ahead of schedule for DeBoer, who's done amazing. The Alamo Bowl is a very underrated bowl, by the way, in my opinion. Up there with the Holiday Bowl, but it's always a great game. Or two great teams. I shouldn't say it's always a great game, but it's usually two pretty good teams in that matchup against the Big 12. And I think this Texas team, despite their misgivings and their losses and the fact that they won't have their running back, is a pretty good team. And I think that their D-line, that Washington offensive line has been good, but I don't know how much of it is a factor of who they've played for a lot of those games. And who actually gets after the quarterback. I think Texas might actually have a chance to get after him this game. And if they do, the game being played in Texas, I don't know. I think this was the hardest game for me to pick. And then the confidence thing that we're all doing, I have it as my least confident game. But I just have a sneaking suspicion that somehow Texas raises their ugly horns and pulls it off against the Huskies, who have had a great season nonetheless.
Well, since I am the resident, apparently I've been appointed the Penix puffer. I'm gonna
head of the fan club.
Yeah. High on Penix, but I will say
puffer
this:
puffer or fluffer.
I don't know what that term means. You want to explain that to us?
It might be a little bit of both.
Rick, can you explain that term for us? I'm not sure what that means. I'm a school teacher.
I think you know. I think you know.
And so I would say that the fact that Bijan Robinson is out, I think that's huge in this game. Huge, really big. And I like the fact that although Penix, here's my worry. So we watched that game against Alabama, right? Does that defensive line look like that? Like they did against Alabama, because if they do, then we might have some trouble. Because Penix is not the same quarterback when he's under pressure. He put up insane numbers, led the Pac-12 in passing, 27 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, something like that. I can't remember. He had all the numbers, but the problem is that he's not the same guy when he faces pressure. And if that Texas defensive line can do what they did and made Young just look like he's scrambling for his life the whole game, I think that they may be in a bit of trouble. Overall, I think that they should be fine. They've got, Odunze, the receiver, that guy's a stud. McMillan, that guy is a stud. They're going to be able to move the ball if he gets time. That's going to be the key. So I'm also with Chris. This game to me is just it could go either way. And I also have it as my least. Also, I have it for my 1, Alamo Bowl. So I have that as a 1 as well. But the thing that kept making me feel a little more confident about Washington win this game and who I've picked is the big factor for me is Bijan's out. You don't just easily replace that guy. And this team kind of struggled at times on offense. Without him, he was basically the machine, that kept the machine going. I think I like that Washington's odds in this game.
Am I up?
Yeah, I'm looking at this game. I'm a little bit more confident in this game from the Washington perspective. I have this as a 3 confidence. And like you, Tim, Bijan's not in the game. You really have to look at these bowls have changed in terms of who's opting in, who's opting out, what's on the line for it. Both schools need to prove something. Washington wants to keep it rolling. They have Penix, obviously. Sark, he wants to shake that mantra of 7-win Sark. He's going against Washington. It's in Texas. They want to prove they're back. They've been proving that they've been trying to prove that for how long. Sark needs to win this game. The difference really is Penix and his experience and the season he's had. You take a look at Quinn Ewers. I think Quinn Ewers has a higher ceiling overall in the future versus Penix. But Ewers has been up and down this year. He hasn't been consistent. He's going to be a better quarterback, I believe, in the long run than Penix. But Penix has more experience. He's going to be the difference in his game with the 2 wide receivers that you mentioned. It's going to be a close game. I see Washington winning by 3 or 4 points. But in the end, Washington wants to prove that, hey, that loss to ASU was a fluke. We want to get 11 wins. We want to roll in the next year getting respect. And Penix is going to be back. So he's going to want to show a national audience that, look, you overlooked me. I should have been in New York for the Heisman. Give me some love going into next year. So I got the Huskies beating Texas.
Can I add here's a couple of numbers I forgot about. So you're looking at their backup quarterback, Jonathan Brooks. He's on the season has 179 yards. So you see that huge drop off. And what Rick just said is on point. The fact that he said that there's been a lot of inconsistency from Ewers, and he's been cold lately. So he's kind of like on a pitcher on a cold streak, right, or a hitter on a cold streak. And so he's not really hitting all cylinders. He has been able to lean on Robinson the whole year. So we will see what the backup can do. But also remember this: Texas is a bad pass defense, and you're looking at one of the best passing offenses in the country. So the key will be up front, but if he has time, he's going to pick that number 90 passing defense in the country apart.
Yeah, I think Texas has all the tools they need to win this game. I just don't think they're going to do it. I could be wrong. This is one that perhaps I think more so than some of the other bowls that I look at and I don't necessarily feel as strongly one way or the other. But Washington has just found a way to get it done this year when they needed to, and Texas has not found a way to get it done when they needed to. So for that reason, I'm saying bow down to Washington. Bump, bump, bump. We're Sergeant Pickles. Mighty are the men who wear the purple and the gold. So I'm going with the dogs on this one. I've got dubs for the win. Is my thought. We'll see though. We'll see. All right. Next up, and that's going to be a great one. But next up, we got another interesting one here: the Sun Bowl, UCLA versus Pitt. Now, the Sun Bowl's kind of a weird one, guys, because I always feel. Tell me if you guys think of this. The Sun Bowl always feels a little bit disappointing. Like it always feels like whoever is in the Sun Bowl kind of wanted to be in a better bowl. I'll never forget the stories when I was in school. We actually USC played in the Sun Bowl, and the band members coming back from Mexico, drunk from the bars, ran into the football team crossing the border the other way. And I got a call from one of my friends in the band who said, yeah, this game is not going to go well tomorrow. And it didn't. What about UCLA versus Pitt? Now, Pitt is without Keaton Slovis. can UCLA keep it rolling, or is UCLA going to face that Sun Bowl curse?
Yeah, so you already mentioned Keaton Slovis. I do agree about the the Sun Bowl not being, it's pretty low on the list. But you mentioned Keaton Slovis, and I was listening to another podcast I happen to be listening to today, and Bud Elliott, I think it was, mentioned that all 4 of Pitt's captains normally for the season have all opted out. So like they're missing their first team all ACC running back, middle linebacker, defensive end, an offensive tackle, another defensive tackle, a defensive back. Like they're missing a ton of dudes, which is interesting because on the other end of things, and I kept waiting for the shoe to drop or whatever, because everyone, even the people opting out, or not opting out, but like the people going to the NFL or the people, there's like our kicker / punters transferring, but still playing in this game. There's from all accounts, everyone at UCLA is practicing. The media only sees the first 15 minutes, but it seems at this point people are pretty much expecting DTR and even Charbonnet and other people to play. Part of that for DTR especially might be, I think he's like 3 touchdowns and 300 yards away maybe from setting the UCLA all-time records. But I'm surprised that a guy like Charbonnet is playing in a game when normally you would expect a guy like that to, be like, thank you for your service to the program. You've been awesome. Now go get ready for the NFL. It's only the Sun Bowl. So on one hand, it's surprising, but on the other hand, I think it speaks to a couple things, because even though it's only the Sun Bowl, we haven't been to a bowl game in 5 years. You have people like DTR that have been around for 5 years that have never played in a bowl game. I think there's something to this team about the chance of winning 10 games in a season. And I think, say what you will about Kelly's program and deficiencies and whatever you want to necessarily argue against them. And I've been, I maybe not always on this show, but there are times that I call them out for things. But I think it says something about the culture that you have there's no real opt-out that I know of. So with that being said, I think I have the Bruins getting to 10 wins, and I think we show up, even though we didn't show up physically to the Holiday Bowl last year. I think we show up physically and mentally, to the Sun Bowl this year, and we take it down. And then real quick before I pass it on, quick shout out to Jake Bobo for being an academic All-American, and shout out to Latu, who was also one of Tim's boys early on. He was one of 3 national comeback players of the year. Definitely well deserved there as well. But yeah, no, I got the Bruins to roll. Quick shout out to Will. He's asked me to come and talk about it. I'll be a little bit more verbose than I've already been verbose right now, but I'll be a little bit more verbose and get into it a little bit more. I'm gonna help the young guns out, talk to Will a little bit more in depth about this game. And I think they might post a video tomorrow or something. We'll see. I got to connect with Will.
Touchdown Ducks.
Penalty Ducks.
Well, here I've got
it is. Yep.
Yeah, it is. So I've got UCLA win this one big for a reason that on the other side of the ball. It's awesome. I mean, at first I was worried about his DTR coming back, his Charbonnet coming back. That's a big part of this, right? But let me just go down so you have Slovis at left. Their backup quarterback's hurt, so he's out, right? And then you have the running back is opting out. You have their two offensive tackles opting out. You have a defensive tackle opting out. You have an edge rusher opting out. You have a linebacker and safety opting. Is there anybody on their defense that's going to play in this game?
By the way, Clancy won't be calling plays anymore either. Our defensive coordinator has been back and is actually at the game.
Yeah,
Did we ever figure out what happened there?
It's a health thing, and there's a question of whether he said in an interview like this week that he wants to come back and fully intends to come back. I don't know if that means I fully intend to get paid, or if that means I fully intend to come back. But he, it's been a health thing. It's never been disclosed exactly what the health thing was.
Okay.
So for me, the whole reason I was worried was about DTR. That's what I had originally. I had this one as my number 2 pick, right? For like almost least likely to know the outcome. But as soon as I saw all the opt-outs and injuries for Pittsburgh, I immediately bumped it up. So this is my 5. I'm very confident about this game now. They just are missing like literally their whole team. Without Slovis and without Patty, who's their backup quarterback. A lot of you guys don't follow Pitt very much, but basically those were the guys. Without these 2 guys, it gets really, really nasty on defense for them. So, and as far as the opt-outs for UCLA, I was going to make a joke, but I'm not. In the spirit of brotherhood, I'm not going to make any jokes about the thought of UCLA players opting out for the NFL. I'm not going to make that joke. I'm going to keep to myself. But they look like they're going to come at full strength. I think, like you said, great point. They're going to be hungry. This is not a team who's been to a lot of bowl games, so they're not going to throw their noses up at being in the Sun Bowl. I think they're a bit disappointed the way the year ended, but that also might just help a little fire, to get them to want to go out on a win. So I've got UCLA winning big.
Sorry, and I didn't mention I put it as my 5 as well.
Your 5? Dude, we're going to have the same picks.
No, we won't.
Okay. Oh, that's right. I forgot. There's one coming up.
Yeah, there's one coming up. All right, am I up?
Well,
I'm sorry, Rick.
I made the prediction on UCLA 2 weeks ago, not knowing that DTR was going to opt in or opt out without all these opt-outs on Pittsburgh. I had it as my 1, and because I didn't know if UCLA was actually going to show up to El Paso. They might spend the night in Juarez because they made it to San Diego, but they couldn't get out of the parking lot or locker room. And, I gave it up to UCLA. I backed them back up at Austin, and they let me down. It's like, why do I do this? So I just kept them at the 1. I didn't, and I submitted this 2 weeks ago to you guys. And so, God darn it, UCLA better beat Pitt. Shut up, Narduzzi. I don't want to hear Narduzzi talking anymore. That guy is a pain in college football's ass. All right. There's this thing called NIL in the transfer portal. If you're going to complain about tampering, show us the phone records, you jerk. Sick of Pat Narduzzi. So UCLA and Chris, you better whoop up on them. I mean, come on. You've got DTR playing. You've got your running back playing. It's all there for you guys.
Charbonnet, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, you got Bobo and Charbonnet. Come on. If UCLA doesn't beat these guys by 21 points, you're a disgrace to the Pac-12. Come on. Oregon's losing to a weak ACC school. And if you guys lose to Pitt, I'm going to be disgusted.
Speaking of rolling them, Tim, it's weird that it's only a 5-point spread still. Like the line is only moved from like 3.5 to 5.
That's no respect for the offense. That's no respect for Chip Kelly's offense.
I would be upset if I was UCLA. My goodness. You know what? They are down to their backup quarterbacks, Nick Patty and Nate Yarnell. How I know their names, I don't even know. But combined, they haven't played.
I'm impressed.
They each played a game in September. Combined, they have 2 touchdowns and less than 270 yards passing. If you guys cannot beat Pitt by more than a touchdown, you're letting down yourselves and the Pac-12, and will be glad to take the transfer portal guys who are thinking of coming to Los Angeles and maybe for a second think about going to UCLA. So good luck.
Wait, is there a chance?
I have
Rick,
UCLA available.
Rick, did you say that Patty might be available for the game? Is that right?
Well, I'm just saying they've got obviously Slovis is not. I don't know. Their 2 backups are Patty and Yarnell. And I was just stating that those 2 guys combined have less than 270 yards passing. They each played a game in September. So I don't know who they're going to play, but I don't.
Yeah,
think
no,
it's
I just
gonna
looked it up. Yeah, it did say he's likely. I mean, he's not great, but he's better than the third option. You're right. I thought he was out. He's actually playing, so I don't want to mislead anybody.
So here's my take. I actually come at this game with two views. The first view is that UCLA should not lose this game. Absolutely, UCLA should not lose this game. And actually, one of the things I was going to say was actually stolen by friend of the show, UC Region Gumby, who points out if UCLA loses, they're going to be given back to the Cal State system. UCLA was actually originally the Los Angeles Normal School, which was today part of the Cal State system. They were sort of seized in kind of a crazy, like, turn of the century backroom politics deal in 1919. But yeah, UC Region Gumby, I agree. If they lose, they go back to the Cal State system, and Stanford gets their spot in the Big Ten, because that's pretty sad. But I also have another perspective on that, and that is a perspective on West Virginia. And I have family in Pittsburgh. I have family in West Virginia, but I am a devoted follower of Couz's Corner. Couz is a very, very wise West Virginia fan. I'm a devout follower of Dr. Joey Foster, and have friends like Mountaineer Paul and Travis Kenobi and all those folks. And on behalf of them, there are only 3 words that come to mind for this game on UCLA, and that is eat shit Pitt. So, Bruins, 4's up on your behalf and on behalf of all my family and friends in West Virginia. Eat shit Pitt. UCLA wins by 1 billion. And that's what I think of that game.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry for that. Sorry to bring some like Big 12 love there, but we gotta stand up for that. Now, the game that a few of us are looking forward to. USC and Tulane in the Cotton Bowl. We're off to Dallas, boys. What do you think?
All right, I'll go first, and then I'll get out of the way so that you guys can talk about your boy Caleb and the rest of the squad that's going to go take care of business.
Here comes the love for Willie Fritz. Bring it, brother.
Exactly. It is a full Willie Fritz.
And in all fairness, you guys, I think in other circumstances we would all love Willie Fritz.
I have been head of the Willie Fritz fan club since I first discovered him in 2018. So USC is our rival, obviously, and I don't particularly root for their football team, but that has very little to do with my pick here. And so, as Rick already stole a little bit, let me tell you about a man named Willie Fritz. Willie Fritz isn't just the man; he's the man. He makes 1/4 of what Lincoln Riley makes, but I absolutely love him and his staff. I don't think from a game management perspective, and I know that this is going to bore some people. They're absolutely outstanding at controlling a game. They're not always going to have the best talent. They're not going to win every week. There's plenty of years before this year where they've gone 6-6. But they're from a game management perspective, they're absolutely perfect. The way they set up their 3rd and 4th downs, by what they do on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, especially, it's just if you pay really, really close attention to how they call plays and try to figure out what their thinking is on certain things, especially on 2nd and 3rd downs, you can learn a lot about analytics and try to kind of decipher what they're trying to do, what the thought process is. If you don't be surprised, you see 3rd and 8 on the +40 and they run the ball twice for a 1st down. Don't be surprised if there happens to be a penalty and they're kicking off from the 50 if they go onside. 4th and 1, expect a quarterback sneak because it's the most successful play in that situation. So USC is obviously way more talented, but Tulane will be totally ready to play. It's not who they are, but don't be surprised if they jump into a bag of tricks. Tim, I showed you that one fake kneel thing that they did against Houston in 2019. this is how much I love Tulane. Is I remembered a game from 2019 where they do a fake kneel to get the ball to the 50 and then throw a 50-yard touchdown pass to beat a Houston team that was like better than them, to be completely honest. Their QB plays really, really well. Their running back, Tyjae Spears, is absolutely legit. And so I am taking Tulane with a 4, and I just wanted to do a Willie Fritz love fest, and I'll let Tim and Rick break the game down a little bit more specifically.
Well, okay. Well, I'm attacking. You gave us a pretty good Tulane side of the ball, and again, Pratt and Spears, and then that big, tall 6'5" receiver. Those dudes, those guys do scare me, and they've got. Make no mistake about it, this is a talented Tulane team. What Fritz has done, spun this team around, is just amazing. But I do feel in my heart that USC is the better team. S&P says they're the better team. A lot of numbers say they're the better team, but there's one big question mark, and that's Caleb Williams. And having Caleb Williams, a healthy Caleb Williams at 100, at 95, at 90, that's one story. If he's not healthy, if he's not that healthy, this could be scary, because here's the problem. Voorhees and Nealon are out, right? Voorhees, they're saying it's an opt-out, but he's also had shoulder problems. He's trying to get himself right for the draft. Nealon had that horrible injury in the championship game. He went down. He's been the heart and soul, right? You lose your center. That's a big deal. And then Jason Rodriguez, one of our big backups, he's out. So those 3 guys are not going to be available, which makes our offensive line absolutely razor thin. And I am a bit worried, because although the Green Wave's defense is not known for getting a lot of sacks and getting quarterback sacks, they did have 219 times this season where they made contact with the quarterback, which ranks about 7th in the FBS. So they're getting to the quarterback, which is great for a healthy Caleb Williams, because you can get to him all you want. We've seen guys absolutely wrap him up and miss the tackle when he's healthy. But I am concerned having all those issues on the offensive line. So it sounds like what they're going to do is they're going to have so Haskins at left tackle, Quinones at left guard. Then you go slide over Didich from right guard to center, which is awesome. You know, he's got a lot of experience. He knows the line calls. He was a number 2 center in the country coming out of high school. So the guy's got talent. And then you put Monheim at right guard, and then Mason Murphy at right tackle. So it's a little bit of a change up on the offensive line, which scares me, because even when the team had a lot of those guys in, but they're a little bit dinged up, there were some holes. And if we're going to throw Miller out in his first game ever as a quarterback in the Cotton Bowl with a makeshift line like that, that's a bit problematic, to say the least. But I do think that Caleb will play in this game. I don't know how long, because hamstring injuries are a crazy thing. That thing could pop out again at any moment and pull up on him. So I'm hoping that he stays healthy. If he stays healthy, I think USC shouldn't have much trouble in this game. I do think that we need to establish, regardless of who is quarterback, we need to establish that run. This is a young line, and they don't have a lot of experience. So what I want you to do is I just want them to do what they do best, right? Pin their ears back and just run block for a while, establish the run, get them comfortable, get them a little bit of a rhythm going, get some confidence, and then you can open up the playbook. But I really think that USC needs to establish a run early in this game to be successful, regardless of who the quarterback's going to be. So all that said, I am excited to say this is my number 2. So I'm picking USC, but my confidence level on it is only, I'm embarrassed to say, is only a 2. Simply because there's too many question marks on the offensive line. I have a lot of respect for, Chris has given me a lot of respect for Willie Fritz. I've went back and watched the game that they played against, who they played the championship game?
UCF.
Yeah, UCF. And the level of athleticism I saw on that team, I was like, wow, holy crap. These guys are quick, they're big, and they're talented. So I'm going with USC, but I'm only going as a confidence factor of 2.
Yeah, I have some concerns in this game too. I have USC with a confidence factor of 2 as well. The concerns I have is as Chris so eloquently laid out, Willie Fritz, he's a very he's a well-respected coach in the coaching fraternity. He's an outstanding coach that a lot of people don't know about. He will be prepared for USC. I like their running game. They run 4.9 yards a carry. They're ranked number 30 in the country. But USC is ranked 23 on yards per carry at 5.1. I agree with you, Tim. I think with the patchwork offensive line, they're going to have to get comfortable with Dedich calling the plays. They're going to run the ball. I think they want to establish the run. And I think where USC has the advantage is obviously with Caleb Williams. That he's going to be playing. I love that Thule has opted in to play this game. He doesn't want to leave his brothers on an island. He's going to most likely go to the NFL. We're going to need him on defense because we do have some guys that hit the transfer portal, 2 linebackers. And we're going to have our hands full with Tyjae Spears. This guy's a quality back. I think Steve Healthwith, who covers Tulane, had mentioned that he's rushed for 120 yards the last 7 consecutive games. So we're going to have our hands full with him. We got to wrap up and tackle. But Caleb Williams' health is going to be a question mark. But Lincoln Riley is going to have plays dialed up for our receivers. I think you're going to see a number of receivers getting the ball in open space. And I think at the end of the day, that's going to be too much for Tulane. I have USC win this game by 6 points. And again, I have it as a 2 on my confidence factor.
Yeah. All right. I won't make everyone hear about the bowel movement schedule of each offensive lineman, but I will say that Willie Fritz is great. Lincoln Riley's better. I was worried that USC would not take this game seriously, but I think they are. The lack of opt-outs is big. I think the seriousness that they're taking the game is big. My worry is not about if Miller has to play. My worry is more if Miller doesn't play. Quite honestly, I think if we just took Caleb out and put Miller Moss in when Caleb got hurt, we'd be the Pac-12 champions and playing in the playoffs right now. So I worry a little bit that if Caleb does get hurt or does re-injure it, that we're not going to put Miller in because Miller can get the job done. So it's going to be interesting, but it's going to be a heck of a game. Fight on, Trojans. I take USC by 10. All right. Next up to bat, guys. This is somebody gets another chance at the little old lady from Pasadena. The Utah Utes are going against Penn State. Now, Penn State wiped the floor with a lot of bad teams, and they got shellacked by 2 good teams. What's going to happen when they run up against Kyle Whittingham in Pasadena?
So real quick, I don't know if I said it for Tulane SC, but to put it on the record, it's my 4 pick, Tim and Rick.
Did I get mine? I forgot if I gave mine.
You said 2. Yeah, you both said 2.
Okay.
So Penn State, Utah. Penn State's 6th in Sagarin, Utah 7th. Penn State's 6th in Massey, the Massey composite. Utah's 10th. It's honestly 2 great teams. Penn State giving Ohio State quite a battle at home. I liked to bash Penn State's schedule for a really long time. And I'll continue to discount their win at Auburn when people were pretty excited about it. But they were impressive against Ohio State, and I watched a lot of that game. Unfortunately for them, this game's on the road while that was at home. My Vandy wife does not like Jonathan Franklin. And who he already lost a bowl game, if you will both remember, to the the great Helton, who was unfairly run out of town after being a Rose Bowl champion against the same Jonathan Franklin that's coming back to town. Yeah, we can get into breaking it down specifically, but like I honestly, it's just like it's 2 top 10 teams. I think it's going to be a great game. I have it as my 2 pick. I'm just going to roll with Rising being a stud, making up for Florida, making up for last year, and taking the Rose Bowl, bringing it to the Pac-12 and bringing it to the Utes, which will be a huge deal up in Salt Lake.
Yeah. So this game, I'm a bit again. This is another one of those games where at first I wasn't too sure about because you have, like you said, you have 2 even games, and what are you looking at? Is the defense for Utah, which is one of the better defenses in the Pac-12, is it more stout? Because because it's weird when you look at the offenses in the Pac-12 and the quarterbacks in the Pac-12 compared to the Big Ten. It's it's day and night, right? But then there's a lot to be said. Also, there's some pretty darn good offenses in the big defenses of the Big Ten. And so, is PSU's offensive numbers, are they a bit stunted because of that factor? At the end of the day, I think it does come down to coaching. My concern for this one is going to be the fact that, Utah last year had lost that close game. They were down a bit. They seem healthy. Their team's getting healthy. And in this game, I'm probably going to back Whittingham, Whittingham's culture and his team, given that the teams seem very equal to each other. I just think, believe it or not, I think Utah's even hungrier after last year. So I have Utah winning, but I'm not too confident. I had them a 3. And I'm rushing so I can watch the end of this game.
We got Oregon with a minute to go. They 2nd and 4 on the North Carolina 8-yard game. 8-yard line.
They all 3 timeouts.
Dropped it.
On the West Coast, are they 30 seconds behind?
Yeah, it's 38 seconds left.
I got 35 seconds. So getting into the Rose Bowl. Oh, what happened there, Tim?
He dropped it. Oh, no, it's a bad throw. Nick seems like he's off a little bit.
There's a timeout right now, 3rd and 4.
So my plan to finish this show before this game ended died with our.
So I'll be brief
with our platelet by platelet examination of a couple of these games. Okay. Oh well.
We weren't gonna get this thing done in less than 40 minutes. You know,
we could have.
So here's the thing. Utah was happy to be there last year, winning the Pac-12 and playing against Ohio State. This year, all their fans are talking about winning this game. They beat Caleb Williams, the Heisman Trophy winner, 2 times. They're back-to-back. They're all jacked up. They sold out all their tickets. I love Kyle Whittingham in his 18th year at Utah over James Franklin every day. I love Cam Rising over Sean Clifford. Utah's played a much more difficult schedule than Penn State.
Sean Clifford's older than Kyle Whittingham, isn't he?
Something like that. So if Utah loses the game, I mean, I would get a good laugh out of it, shut their fans up, because, they think they've accomplished something. You haven't accomplished anything until you win a Rose Bowl. So here is your chance. And I think, Chris put it very well. James Franklin lost to Clay Helton. What does that tell you? So Utah, you should roll Penn State. They are beatable. They have a lousy quarterback. I mean, they had Trace McSorley and they had Saquon Barkley. That was a Penn State team. Utah should win this game by 10. If they don't, I would be disappointed for you, Utah.
Here's the game, by the way.
Rick, I think you are spot on that. I think Utah's ready for this win. Utah's overdue for this win. It's time for Utah to admit this is going to be, when they win the Rose Bowl, guys, this is going to be probably the most significant win of the history of Utah. They will be the Pac-12 champions. They'll have won the Rose Bowl. They're in the AAU. This is everything they worked for 20-some years. I think they get it with this one. I think Penn State's a little bit good team, but they're a little bit overrated, I think, particularly relative to what Utah's capable of. Now, if Utah plays like they played against UCLA, well, that's going to be real ugly. But I think that instead Utah's going to play like they need to play. And I think they're going to get the win. It's going to be pretty incredible. And I'm giving this one to the Utes. And we're watching this game right now as it comes down to it.
Here's the play. Wait.
There's the play. First down or a touchdown. I can't tell which. They got it. All right. So on that note,
they called it a touchdown, but it's close. I don't know. I can't.
Really close. All right. So we were supposed to wrap up before this. Do we want to talk briefly about media rights?
He's in.
Ducks are going to win. So just one thing real quick. We are
he's short, I think.
He is? Looks like he landed on him, didn't he? I thought he got in.
I would like to see that again. Wait till the replay comes. I think you're like.
Chris, that's your buddy Coda.
There you go.
We're expecting in the next couple weeks they're going to announce the Pac-12's media deal, which may involve Amazon having a significant portion, certainly taking over what is with Pac-12 networks, and then possibly a little more of what is currently with Fox and ESPN. We'll see. It's also expected that ESPN and or Fox will also continue to play a role in the Pac-12's media deal. So we'll see. It should be very good for the conference when it comes out. So it's going to be a little bit of Amazon there as we get ready to
I
wrap
still
up.
think he's like 4 inches short. Sorry, Tony.
Wait, so was he tackled or did he land on? Was he down? Doesn't look like he's down though, Chris. He literally lands on the defender.
I think his butt hit down on the side. I mean, we'll find out. I don't have sound on.
Dude, it did. You're right. He is short, but they got the first down. First and goal from the 1 inch line.
All right, so logistical question, guys in the chat. Does this mean we're not finishing now, or what's happening?
What's that?
So the plan tonight was we were going to finish before the game ended so we could see the end of the game. The game is about to end. What's our update? We just lost Rick. He just disappeared on us. So whatever you guys think, I'm on board. I just didn't think we were going to finish before. Well, we probably could have finished. All right, the game's still, it looks like.
We did finish before the game was over.
We did finish before the game. All right. All right, guys in the chat, real quick. Is there anybody that wants to call in real quick? Tell us in the chat right now if you want to call in. If not, we'll wrap up. If you do want to call in, we're glad to have you.
Oh my gosh.
Here it is. The kick for the win.
No! Wait, what?
Oh my God! It was in. Oh my God!
You just messing with us. I can't say. Wait a minute.
Well, no, my God!
The PAT.
Oh my God! Hold on, I gotta watch that replay. Sorry to everybody who's watching.
Oh man, you're ahead of me. I thought he missed it.
Absolute insanity.
Oh, went through.
Oh!
What happened?
With the doink.
He banked it through. The kicker on the extra point banked it through off the left upright.
As Connor Johnson says, Oregon's kicker almost cooked it.
That sideline reaction was great.
Oh my God.
Look at the players on the sideline.
That kicker celebrated like he did nail it right through the middle. Watch at the end. So that's what I planned to do. Watch at the end. I like to show it.
This is insane. Yeah, I think let's
that's literally as bad as you can kick it and still make it.
As NoCal Matt says, Packy is the ending of the Pac season. How about them Ducks? All right, guys. On that note, I guess then any final thoughts?
2-1. That's my only thought.
2-1. We'll take it.
Easiest game of Oregon's life. I mean, there to be fair, there is 19 seconds left, and their kickoff coverage has been like not good at all this game. Like this game actually isn't over yet.
Well, they should squib
They
it.
should squib. They should definitely squib.
They squib it, and then hopefully they can run some clock.
Or they do that. That's fine too.
They have no time. So North Carolina has no timeouts.
That's
so
fine.
If they squib it, they're probably got maybe one.
They didn't squib, but what they did was fine.
No, they didn't squib.
Oh, you guys are way ahead of us, or me at least.
And they got him down. All right.
Well, they got to get in field goal range with one play. And practice that.
All right. Any final thoughts?
Nope. No final thoughts.
Nope.
I'm good.
Congrats to Oregon.
Good job, Oregon.
All right, congrats to Oregon on a heck of a win. Most importantly, guys, we're gonna be live after the USC game for USC Post Game Live, which is gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be quite a game, and we're looking forward to it. We'd love to have you guys call in and hear your thoughts on that, and for those of you guys from other teams, your thoughts on the other bowl games we talked about. It's gonna be a lot of fun. And as always, thanks to everybody. We've got kind of a small crowd tonight, but thanks. We got Gigs for Squid. We got UC Region Gumby for real, one of our favorites. We got One Scoop John, who is fantastic. We got Rob. We've got all kinds of folks. Sorgi. We got Eddie. Thank you guys for joining us. We love having you. It's been quite a bowl season already for the Pack, and it's going to be a fun week. Thanks for joining us, guys. Fight on, everybody.
Good night.